Hello and welcome to the Illuminate podcast. I am your host, Brian M. Truskowski. With me today is Rick Broniec. Rick Broniec is a master's in education, has a master's in education, is an author, speaker, coach, webinar creator, and skilled facilitator. He has been a pre-eminent leader in the men's trainings with the Mankind Project since 1990. Rick has facilitated men's personal growth workshops on 5 continents and 11 countries for thousands of men, which gives him a unique window into the needs of modern men. Rick is an Amazon bestseller of the title 7 Generation Story, an incentive to heal yourself, your family, and the planet, as well as A Passionate Life, 7 Steps for Reclaiming Your Passion, Purpose, and Joy. Rick's 4th book, co-authored by Leonard Szymczak, Power Tools for Men, Building a Meaningful Life and Purpose, is due out later this year. Rick and Leonard also have a webinar series called Power Tools for Men, which I'm excited to hear all about. Welcome to the show, Rick. Thank you so much for being on here with me today.
Hey, great, Brian. Thanks so much for having me. It's good to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, it's been a while. I know we staffed a Mankind Project weekend almost 2 years ago now down in San Diego in your hometown. So, or not hometown, but where you're at. So tell us a little bit more about what you do before we get into this.
Well, thanks, Brian. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a writer. I have 2 books I've already published. A 3rd book that I'm anthologized in called 100 Habits of Happy Achievers, which is a wonderful book. And then the 4th book, which I have with Leonard, isn't yet published. We hope to have it published soon. So that's one way that I try to serve the world and get my mission work out there. Secondly, I lead trainings for the Mankind Project and other organizations, including my own trainings. And I love doing that. I love face-to-face work. Of course, in today's environment, that's been put on hold. In fact, I've had to cancel 7 trainings already this year.
Wow.
Unfortunately, and some are my own, some were Mankind Project. And then I coach mostly men using personal growth coaching tools to jumpstart their lives. And then I also started a new project with my partner, Michelle Lyons, who's a sex coach. And we work with couples mostly in jumpstarting their sexual expression, because we have a mission to have fully sexually expressed human beings on the planet. So that's a lot of work to do. I am using my quarantine time wisely to do things like talking to you and getting our own webinars up and running and doing more writing. So that's what I'm up to, Brian, right now.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you're taking advantage of our downtime and creating content and doing the work to keep this planet rolling. So yeah, I was curious about that. I think I heard about some of obviously the new warrior trainings with Mankind are being put on hiatus and until further notice, I guess. Right. Yeah. So
He's till September 1st, 2020.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep, they just made that announcement.
So with that, do you want to get into the questions?
Absolutely, I'm ready.
All right. So with that, the first question is, what are 3 things that you want to share with the world that you don't hear broadly being spoken about, that you have a passion about, that you want people to know about?
Well, thanks for that question. The first one is clearly that men are in crisis. The data is overwhelming, and I've been dedicating a big part of my life for over 30 years to men's work. And it's having a small impact, but not as much as I'd like to. I'll just give you a couple of examples, Brian, of some statistics that are really stunning. Maybe you know them. Men commit suicide 3.5 times more often than women. Divorced men commit suicide 10 times more often than divorced women. And this points to the lack of resilience that most of us men have. 93% of the prison population in the United States is male, and 99% of the mass shootings in the United States that occurred in 2018 were perpetrated by men. Only one of those mass shootings was perpetrated by a woman. So all of these statistics point to a deep, deep, deep need for men to get out of the man box, to get woke up, and to get the support and help they need to become more fully realized human beings. We're in crisis. We need help. That's the first one. You want to talk about that more, or should I go on and?
Yeah, I mean, well, I was just gonna say that those are stunning numbers to just hear. I mean, I feel like I've heard them before, but every time I hear them, it just still leaves me in shock, But it just goes to show, like, that's why I really value the work that you're doing with the Mankind Project and with the webinars and just all the work you're doing. So thank you for being sort of a leader in that in the world.
Oh,
So
thanks, Brian. I appreciate that.
yeah,
A second uh, topic that isn't talked about as much, and I have a lot of passion for, is the idea of sex and sexuality. That fully expressed people sexually also are fully alive. They're functional. They are more creative, and there is so many shaming messages that our society, particularly in the U.S., have around sexuality that many of us um, subsume our sexual energies, particularly us men, or they come out in really unhealthy ways, hurtful ways to ourselves
Mhm.
or to others, either abusive or addictive ways. So myself and my wonderful partner, Michelle Lyons, who's a certified sex coach, we work with couples to help bring them to full sexual expression, to work with all the messages that men and women carry that say that being uh, sexually adventurous and having fun and enjoying each other to the fullest is not okay. Those come from the same kind of messages that keep men in our man box, our upbringing, our parents, churches, and so forth. So we do that work out of just the pure mission of wanting people to be fully sexually expressed.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising. We're in 2020. You think we'd be far further on this curve than we are, but with the puritanical roots that we have in this country, it's just so locked down from the base.
Exactly. And it's stunning how deep it runs, and the gamut from, young to very old, that are hurting because of the messages they've gotten around sexuality or being asexual, being in relationships and where there's unequal desire, for example, dealing with so many shameful messages or behaviors that men deal with and women deal with around sexuality.
Yeah.
So it's a joy to help people sort of work their way through those, and see the results on the other side.
That's great. Yeah, I can say I'm well aware of that shaming that I've definitely done a lot of work through.
Mm.
Um, and I know women too. I've definitely had female partners that are on that same boat. It's like, wow, like, I would, my judgment is that they would be further on the path and they're really no further than we are. We're kind of figuring this out together in my
Well, and they have
experience.
completely different messages than men do. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, one of the groups that we work with a lot are young parents. And once a child comes into the relationship, oftentimes sexuality gets dramatically impacted. And women have to struggle with this mixed message they get from society that they can't be a mother and be sexual at the same time, that there's something wrong with that. And then men, have a child and they're in love with that child and they're in love with their wife, but suddenly their sexual needs aren't getting met and they're in a lot of pain. It's stunning how often this happens around the country, and how many young couples we work with who need to work their way out of that. And it saves marriages. It really does.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. That's great.
The third thing is the importance of men and women to have some kind of mission, some purpose for being on the planet. We all have a purpose. Many of us don't know it. If we don't know it, we can't be living it. And then we seem to live a more dead, um, uh, less fulfilled life. And again, I know you want it too, Brian, everyone to have a fulfilled life, to live your purpose, to fulfill your destiny. So those are the three things I wanted to bring, and that I bring in my own work.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to let you do this because I know the Mankind Project has a really great metric for creating a mission. It's purpose and action, right?
Mhm.
And I have my way of saying it, but I want to hear how you say it because I'm sure uh, I'm curious how you articulate it.
My own mission, you mean?
No, no, no. The metric. So you need both action and purpose, right?
Right, right, right. Well, first of all, I love teaching mission. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful process and a tool that I use in my own business as well as in the Mankind Project trainings. In fact, I've done it with corporate executives, and it blows them away. So a vision plus an action makes a mission. The vision comes out of your deep, deep desire to see the world different than what it is. Maybe the world different than you were raised in, or another way to look at it is, what do you want your legacy to be?
Hmm.
That really works well with executives. How do you want to be remembered? So
Right.
that's where your vision comes from. All of us have beautiful, precious visions. And when I hear men and sometimes women expressing them, it always blows me away. In fact, it often moves me to tears.
Hmm.
But having a vision is not enough. The people that we know that were movers and shakers in the world, that we all look to as icons, like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, they didn't just have visions, they took action to make those visions real in the world, to bring it to the planet. So you got to have the action too. Now, I look at the action as being a special gift or talent or passion that you have that allows you to bring more and more and more of that beautiful vision to the planet. So in my case, I create a passionately loving and peaceful planet by creating safe, sacred, diverse healing circles. Now, I'm very fortunate in that my life is set up right now so that everything I do is about creating safe, sacred healing circles, whether it's writing a book and creating a circle with my reader, whether it's doing a webinar, whether it's leading a face-to-face training. I sit in a fabulous integration group every Tuesday night here in Vista, California, that is co-gender.
Hmm.
About 25 men and women get together every week. We're doing it
Wow.
online now during COVID. And
Wow.
phenomenal work is happening. And so I get a chance to create those circles all over the place. And when I do my own workshops too. And
That's it.
every time it's fulfilling, it's fabulous, it's healing, and it's transformative.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and I love to hear that you're doing co-gender circles too. I mean, I know that's sort of cutting edge, especially on that level of work. But that's really great that you're doing that. So,
Thank
yeah, are you ready to move on to the next bank of questions?
I am, Brian.
All
Let's go.
right. Well, it's fun time because
All
this
right.
is let's just go into imaginary world. Let's say, for example, tomorrow we can have friends and family and community over. What are three fun, unique things that you would want to do with them, knowing what you know now about the difference and separation?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the first thing I'd want to do is get together with a group of people and hug. I'm missing my hugs. I'm missing my connection. Maybe have a drumming circle over at my house. Michelle and I are both avid djembe drummers, and do some dancing and do some physical activity and connect with each other. You know, it's great to do these Zoom calls. Amazing work can happen, but I miss that physical touch. I miss that connection. I miss those hugs and those back pats. So that would be the first thing.
Nice.
The second thing I do is get together with some of my buddies who ride motorcycles. You know,
Mm.
I ride a Harley. We have several men in my I group that ride Harleys, and we get together and we ride together. And in Southern California, there are so many beautiful places to go. And I miss those rides. I mean, I get on my bike, and just yesterday, I went for a long ride just by myself to recharge and enjoy the fabulous weather we have right now. But it's a lot more fun when I'm doing it with a group of men and we get to go to a restaurant or someplace and hang out together at the other end of our journey and then ride back together. That's a hoot.
Nice.
Third thing is I would love to get together with a group of people, friends of mine that are meditators, and have a meditation again in person. We do this online again, and it's beautiful, but it's nothing like being in person, sitting around a circle together, holding hands, meditating, chanting, whatever it is. Those are the three things that I would do first off, as soon as our quarantine is done.
Nice. Well, I just want to reflect on that. I was interviewing a guest last week, and he said the exact same thing. He loves hugging his friends, but he's going to hug the heck out of them when he said when this thing comes offline, man, because it's like it's that physical touch, right? We really need physical touch, physiologically and neurologically. We need that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, and the other thing he mentioned too, which is similar to what you said, was just sit in the presence of friends in silence, right? And he said it doesn't have to be meditation, but just that idea. And I think this is it's the deepest form of intimacy,
Yep.
right? To be with someone in silence, right? And to have, and if there is conversation, have it be meaningful. So I think that's great. So that's awesome to hear that there's similar messages that are kind of popping through. So lastly, what's one message from your heart that you want to share with the world, that you want people to know? If you had a world stage to sit on and a message for everyone to hear, what would that be?
All right. I do have a world stage. It's called Brian Truskowski's podcast. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
The message would be that human beings are innately good, beautiful, mission-driven souls. Given the chance, given the support, given the caring, given the opportunity to heal, they will be fulfilled, beautiful, precious souls. Every single one of us. I believe that in the depth of my being. I've worked in prisons. I've done work with convicted wife beaters, doing healing work with them. Every single man I've ever worked with, or woman, eventually gets to a point of beauty, a point of gratitude for their life, and a point of wanting to serve the greater good. That's what I want your listeners to hear.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that's a great message. I mean, I'm glad to hear that you can speak that from a place of knowing and having worked with inmates and people like that, who most people just want to write off, it's like, oh, how could they possibly have any sort of decency? So
yeah, the worst of the worst, so to speak. And I've worked with many men who are never going to get out of prison, and somehow they're driven to do their personal growth work behind bars. Man. And they're so grateful when someone like you or I go into the prisons to help them do that.
Wow.
It's phenomenal.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to honor you for that. That's amazing. I mean, potent work to go, especially into prisons. I've heard a lot, especially with Mankind Project, people doing that, men doing that. And it's fantastic. So, so just to wrap things up, two things. One, how do people find out more about you? And secondly, is there any sort of closing statements that you'd like to make?
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, people can get a hold of me at my website, which is www.powertoolsformen.org.
Okay.
My email is rbroniec, that's RBRONIEC @gmail.com. You can get a hold of me there as well. And I can talk to you about coaching, about men's work, about my books, whatever it is, come and connect. We can connect online. We can connect by phone. I'd love to do that.
Wonderful.
The final message. Take this time during quarantine to go within, find out what your passion, what your joy is, and do your best to bring that to the planet. You don't have to be isolated and disconnected and depressed during this time. We can be in great joy doing the work that we're meant to do.
It's a beautiful message. Thank you so much, Rick. And then just for the viewers, we'll have your contact information in the comments below, so they can find you on that. Thank you so much for being on this with me. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your time and your message and your work with us in the world. You're doing a fantastic job, and I'm grateful to know you as an individual and to know the work that you're doing in this world.
Thanks, Brian. It's been a great joy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate you following us on the Illuminate podcast. Again, I'm your host, Brian M. Truskowski with Illuminate. This has been Rick Broniec. Thank you all for listening. Please share this video, share this message with anyone that you think might need to hear it. And remember, get out there and make a beautiful and blessed day. It's really your choice to choose whether your day goes well or not. And that's about empowerment. So choose to have it be a beautiful day. Thank you all for listening. Take care.